Hi, I'm Mike Dooley, and I'd like to take you on a tour of my garden. Come on along. I have a pretty good slope in my front yard, and that can be good news or bad news. If you're trying to build a water feature, it's great because now you have the elevation change that you need to get the water to flow. But in areas that you're planting, you may want to terrace it and level off an area like we have behind me so that you can put a sitting bench in there. But it can easily be accented with a simple retaining wall like this. This one's made out of adobe. If you build larger retaining walls and span the whole yard, they get very expensive. This one's just a few $100s, but it adds a lot to the landscape. This is one of my favorite places to sit in the evening. We've got a great view of the sun as it sets. And did I mention that we sell stone benches? The obvious focal point to the landscape is this beautiful waterfall that we built. It's about 30 foot long with an upper basin and a lower basin. It's lined with beautiful grass which blows in the wind and adds texture to it. Paths tie the focal points together. In this case, the path brings us over to a sitting area, and it's got a little spur that goes over to another sitting area. We've got a bridge in here that traverses the water feature, and it really gives you motion to the landscape rather than just a collection of plants. Well, now that we've got our focal point in, and we've got paths that connect it, and we've got benches, and we've got our structure built up, the next part is the fun part. Now we're adding the plants. We love to include pottery in our designs. It gives a texture and quality that you can't get any other way. We don't always plant annuals in them. Sometimes we do what we've done here and plant perennials so they don't have to be replanted each year. But in the desert, the problem with pottery is watering them. So we'll have my irrigator run drippers into each pot. If there's one thing I want to bring to the Albuquerque area, it's the use of mulch. We use too much gravel, and there's no reason for it. Let me show you why. This mulch is not bark chips. It won't blow away. It's made from cedar. It deters insects. It holds the moisture in, and it's much prettier. This is shredded, and so it's fine like a pile of hair, and it mashes together and forms a mat on the ground. This mulch right here is taking gusts over 60 miles an hour. When it comes to screening, this is the ultimate. A few days ago, I could see into my neighbor's garage. This is instant. What we really like to do when you're putting in a hot tub, you need a little privacy, and so we create trellises like this. Although they're not blooming now, climbing roses look wonderful during the season. I love benches. At my house, as you'll see in a few minutes, I've got 4 different sitting areas. It's very peaceful. I get varying views of the landscape that I've created. We usually put some sort of interesting tree behind it, a lot of times crepe myrtles or other blooming trees. And with the florals all around us, we've got a beautiful setting. Proper pruning is the key to any landscape looking the way it should. At one point, this was a big bush. The garden Annie pruned this into the beautiful specimen that it is now. Once it gets to that point, it's easy to maintain, but it stumps a lot of people how to do this. This is my favorite path in the whole landscape. It's also the most expensive because it's brick, but they can easily be done out of crusher fines, and it costs no more than if you were laying down gravel. As you can see, it immediately draws your eye through the landscape with the florals draping over the edge. Lots of people try and keep all this cut back where it's real formal. I like mine more gardening. This trellis is probably the most expensive part of my landscape except for the water feature up front. This is a narrow area, and if I wanted to do some screening in this area, which is obviously very popular with homeowners, the problem that I would have is to gain height with plants. I usually gain width, and I don't have the width here. So if I want height, but I want very shallow foliage in here, this is the way to go. I can keep the English ivy in this case trimmed flat, and this is 1 year's growth. The plants started out at about this height. They're already to the top, and we're talking 1 year. This is a good solution. Most of my clients aren't avid gardeners, but everybody loves a vine-ripe tomato like that. Hidden gardening fun. Thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed the tour.